Hey all, seeing that we've done such a great job solving the world's problems one after another lately with just a little bit of conversation between you and I wanted to take a shot at probably the most pressing thing, at least if you're in the United States, and it's not gun control or abortion or weed legalization or taxation or any of the things that, seem to get the buzz really started. It's the thing that's really impacting us as far as violent outbursts, inspiring people to do god-awful things in the name of ideology. It's race, it's ethnicity now. And, I was able to find the solution if everybody were to adopt it. And I made a comment in my last video about weed legalization that, if everybody was smoking weed, things would run a lot smoother. Of course it would. People would be way less hasty to do violence and be cruel and angry and bitter towards one another over whether it just be a tradition, if a tradition or an oral heritage for your particular family or community is to hate based on such a broad basis and painting with such a broad brush. The differences between us and the reason why that should inspire you to hate or fear or do violence. Well, that is solved simply because that argument is not valid. If you can recognize, and this is a message to every single person painted so specifically for you, and that is the beauty of the message, is it applies to you, listener, as an individual, tailored right for you, and is also a statement that covers the blanket nature of humanity. Here it is. You're an individual, aren't you? You are not defined in any way, generally, by the people that look like you or sound like you, or were born in the same country as you. You are not the same as all those people simply because you have that thing in common. You are a unique individual, aren't you? There are things about you that you can't find anywhere else in humanity, no matter how far you would look. In your lifetime, I don't know if you could meet all 7 billion people on the planet, give or take, in your lifetime, one-on-one, and speak with them. But if you could, how long would it take to find somebody that is exactly like you, identical to you? You can't. And I would question the logic of somebody who feels that they can judge another individual based on the qualities of any level of grouping. If you would say, I am a 32-year-old white fireman from Kentucky, and I deserve, if a fireman, and not even a white fireman, if a black fireman in Oklahoma fucking, started some shit and got, all firemen in some hot water, and you were taking a rap for that based on what some random dude did, based on his classification matching yours. Now people are throwing bricks through your window, calling you, let's say this fireman in Oklahoma murdered a bunch of kids, and now all firemen were given that label, and it was worth everybody in every town throwing bricks at firemen and holding protests against having fire departments and people saying we can do this ourselves. We don't need firemen in here because they're child murderers, they're pedophiles. Well, I believe that is such an unfair way to dictate the way somebody else's life will go. By constantly seeking to make it harder for somebody, by not giving them the same basic advantages and foundations that everyone is supposed to have because of such a broad label, it makes the whole system of community fall apart. And I don't think you could disagree. I don't think that you can add whatever label and whatever trait, whatever attribute to this method, and you'll see that that's the way it boils down when people hate each other based on their religion or their color or their ideology, because you blossom into that as much by yourself as with the aid of other people. And as cognizant, understanding, living, breathing human beings, I think it's our duty to ensure that we are getting everything we need and want for ourselves, and so is everybody else, because that's the only way the world is truly good.